Inside of the doctor and one, they get together, a little contact there, looked like.
Everybody you could see trying to get in behind Wayne Jelly. If he had a line underneath Danny Johnson, they were going to try and freight train by him.
Shepard still in front of this group of cars. Ward is 14th, second among these cars that pitted during the caution for Billy Decker's wounded machine.
You made a very good point. We could see the winner come out of this group of cars. Everybody right there is already pitted. But the thing that I have to wonder, tire wear. The only guy in this group right here that took tires was Danny Johnson.
Could have been the smartest play at all for the great veteran who drives the 27J. He's been here many, many, many times over the seasons and knows just about all the stories there are to tell about racing in Syracuse. Side by side, down into one. Vic Coffey makes a move there on the 55 of Gary Edwards. Picks up second spot and now runs away. Obviously, Edwards was holding up Coffey. He'll try to play the track position game. Mark Kenyon's caught up with Brett Hearn.
Brett, what happened out there? Looked like you had a motor problem.
It's either in the transmission or the driveline or maybe possibly a broken piston, but you know, it was going good up that point.
The McNell guys were just over here talking to you. What were you guys talking about?
Well, you know, they like to play little weaselly tricks, and one of the tricks was to come down here and drop down like he was going to the pits to block me from getting to the pit area, and he had no intention of pitting. I wasn't too happy about it.
And you let them know. It's got to be a big disappointment for you, Brett. Syracuse getting kind of tough with breaking driveline stuff.
I don't know what else we can do, man. It's all good stuff, all new stuff. Nothing you can do.
Brett Hearn out today.
Just shows you how much pressure there is on these teams and drivers to want to win here at the mile, whether it's on the racetrack or in the pits. And obviously, Brett Hearn, he wanted to win this race.
Oh, this is one of those events that the payoff is huge financially. It's big in points in terms of the Mr. Dirt Championships, but really it's the prestige of winning at the biggest racetrack on the tour. On board again with Danny Johnson. Getting by Pat Ward there in the 42P.
Danny Johnson must have something underneath him today, and I mean that from the standpoint that he has a good handling race car. We don't normally see guys drive around somebody on the mile like Danny Johnson just did to Pat Ward.
Well, Pat Ward shuffled back to 15th now in that Gypsum Express car. Danny Johnson chasing down Matt Shepard. These cars have pitted already. McNell continues to run up front in the other 42, the black machine out of Canada. There he is. The front straightaway, continuing to lay down some very strong laps down into turn one. Big Coffey in seconds. Oh, McNell in trouble. McNell may have clouded the inside part of the racetrack.
You're clear. You can get her down. Okay, go, 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 go.
McNell getting back on the gas.
Hit the inside berm with the left front. We're down to fourth here, guys.
You heard his spotter say he hit the inside berm, an uncharacteristic mistake by Mr. Smallblock.
Take a look at it again here in two. Just turned in too tight in that car. It has to give up the lead. May have damaged things. Looks like the car's kind of crabbing down the straightaway now.
We'll have to see if this is going to affect the handling of his race car throughout the remainder of this event. A hard shot to the inside berm.
I think McNell bent something in the rear end of the 42 car, so even though he was fast and on a different pit strategy, that move may have cost him the race. Vic Coffey takes over the lead now, and the car's in trouble.
Kerry Terrence in the 66 sideways in the back straightaway. Not a place you want to be sitting.
Just past halfway, our third caution of the day. That is what some of these teams, McNell, Coffey, Edwards, and others, needed to come to pit road. We'll be back. Five miles to go in Syracuse. The ITT Industries Gould's Pump salute to the troops 150. Alongside Shane Andrews, I'm Rick Benjamin. Mark Kenyon on pit road, which is about to become a pretty busy place as we are under caution.
If you haven't pitted, now is the time to do it as we get closer to the end of this race.
Vic Coffey had assumed the lead in the Sweeteners Plus 32C. Looks as though he will take this opportunity to make his stop and get set up.
Hey, Vic, try to come straight into the stall. Be straight.
Crew telling him be straight coming in.
Okay, here he comes, guys. Here he comes. Nice and smooth.
Here comes Edwards in the 55 as well.
Pit road shouldn't be as congested as it was on the first pit stops.
If you're stopping now, you can light fuel. You don't need a full tank to get home here. They're going to change both right side tires on the 32C.
Not a bad strategy by Coffey to put right rear rubber and front rubber on.
Andy McKinney in the old Forge 4 car coming back in. He was sitting back in 20th. The New York Truck Parts team of Edwards finishing their service on the 55. Edwards has been strong today.
Watch up on top of the pit road. Here comes Pete McNell. Remember, he lost a bunch of spots. Can he beat these guys
McNell
out?
on your outside, right there on your outside. Clear. Go, 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 go.
McNell quicker down pit road. There's no speed limit. He was able to blast by Coffey's pit stall and come back onto the speedway in front of the driver who was leading. Edwards is down and away, and here's McKinney in the 4 car. So, very interesting as we get set for a restart here at the New York State Fairgrounds.
Pete McNell may have just put himself in a prime spot to win this race.
Rick Laubach is out front, stopped on lap 20. McKinney will restart 14th. Pat Ward will line up 7th. And the doctor, Danny Johnson, carrying one of our onboard views. He's 5th. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the New York State Fairgrounds coverage of Super Dirt Week. The 358 Modifieds in the spotlight today. Pit stops after a caution. Now let's see who's cycled where. Rick Laubach will be the restart pole sitter. Tim Fuller will start 3rd in the 19 car. They all stopped back in the early laps, right around lap number 20. Mark Kenyon.
You guys trying to steal one, you'd have to go 127 laps. Is that what you're going to try to do?
We're going to try to. I don't know if we can do it yet or not. We're ciphering right now if we can go the distance.
Were you forced into that strategy because of that right rear flat?
Yes.
They're going to try to go 127 laps. This could be a feat of biblical proportions, but we'll see. Fuller trying to steal one.
Fuller's really going to have to massage that gas pedal to make that car go the distance.
Rick Laubach in the 14. He stopped when Fuller did way back in the 20s. He lines up 3rd, but he is the restart leader. 60 to go, and we're back underway at Syracuse. First 2 cars in line, lapped cars. Brian McDonald, Mark Flack up front there. There's Laubach, your leader in the 14. Roy Tarbell in that 007. He's turned in a good run today.
Tarbell out of Hogansburg, New York, showing very strong here on the mile. It's like anybody when they come into town. This is the only race of the year that they run on this track. Roy Tarbell, limited experience here, but making the most of it.
We're in the 19, Super Matt Shepard with Danny Johnson in tow. Remember, those are the cars that stopped back around lap 50, so no question about whether they can go all the way or not. Down into turn number 1. On board Johnson, 5th right now. Wayne Jelly back there in the 45 car. He runs 6th.
Getting a face full of cinders, too, from the back of the Johnson, number 27J. We heard Andy McKinney talk about that earlier in his interview with Mark, saying that there are a lot of cinders on the track. Well, you can see it right there as Wayne Jelly was getting a face full.
Fuller out of turn number 4. Shepard and Johnson next in line. Tire wear starting to become a concern to these race teams as we get close to 50 miles to go here today. We saw Vic Coffey's team take 2 right side tires, but there are indications some other teams didn't put any tires on when they pitted for fuel. Mark Kenyon, how about tires today?
Late in the going here, Matt Shepard did not take tires on his first pit stop. The tire was pretty feathered. He's a young gun. He's a hard charger. I don't know if those guys can keep that tire under him for the distance of this race. In the meantime, Fuller trying to go 127. So as it plays out, typical Syracuse. Gas mileage and tire wear coming to the top.
Matt Shepard used the same strategy to win this race back in 2003.
Tim Fuller's team watching from pit road. They've got their feet up on the wall. Everything goes right. Their driver will be able to boot that 19 car home. Shouldn't need to stop again today. But the battle rages here. Shepard in the 44 on a turn 4. Danny Johnson right behind him along with Wayne Jelly trying to track down Fuller now.
Pat Ward not out of the thick of that battle. And the 3-car, Chad Brockman, right behind him. And Brockman starting to look for different lanes to use.
Brockman in that Pizza Logs entry. He's been very impressive here today. He's a guy that you don't hear a lot about, but he's quick when we get to Syracuse every year. Onto the backstretch one more time. Brockman searching for traction up high. Pat Ward runs 7th now. Let's ride with him.
Chad Brockman just went past Pat Ward like he was tied to a tree on the top side. Again, down in turn number 3. Chad Brockman out of Wheatfield, New York, making a charge.
Danny Johnson here taking a look back. There's Jelly. Brockman starting to close in. Took a look down on the bottom. Johnson up onto the backstretch now, and Jelly knows if he can hang with the 27, he's got a good shot. But here comes Brackman on the inside.
All three of these drivers have won at the mile. The Doctor in both the big block and small block.
Whoa!
Wow, contact. Brackman shuts the door on Jelly.
Got up alongside the 45 of former winner Wayne Jelly, rubbed on him a little down into 3 and completed the pass. Jelly right back at him though.
Rick, the gloves are off.
Coming up on 50 laps to go, and here's Brackman rim riding, trying to get by Danny Johnson. Brackman in that white 3 car.
These two guys are not going to give it. Wow. Look at Jelly throwing his sideways, trying to keep up with him. Chad Brackman showing the Doctor how to get it done.
Chad Brackman with a great move, and there he goes. There goes Johnson right around Jelly again. This is a place where car control is usually the key to victory. We've seen Brackman just say, hey, I'm going to shoulder my way by you guys. Look out.
Brackman's going to try the top side again in turn number 1. This time on Matt Shepard. Chad Brackman is a sensational race car underneath him.
Chad Brackman in that 3 car, that white car with the blue stripe down the middle, just rolls by Shepard, who led a lot of laps earlier. Now he's in behind Fuller.
I'll guarantee you Danny Johnson saw what he did, and he'll try it too. The top side worked for the Doctor.
Danny Johnson goes high to get around Shepard's 44 car, so Danny Johnson up to 5th now. Fuller trying to hold off Brackman. I don't think he can do it. Here comes the Doctor on the high side.
Danny Johnson, one heartfelt power pounds. Can he do it around both Brackman and Fuller? Unbelievable.
Danny Johnson finding what little grip there has to be up on the cushion here. Now, this is not Eldora. Oh, we got a car in the wall. Trouble on lap 101. It's our 4th caution of the afternoon here at the Moody Mile.
Keith Flack, the Flack Crane number 43 machine out of Ravenna, New York, up against the concrete.
And that brings out a yellow. Anybody who needs one last trip to pit road gets the opportunity. Now here's another look at it. Flack spins and backs that car into the outside concrete here at the New York State Fairgrounds. Back underway, but we are under caution for the 4th time this afternoon. Less than 50 miles to go. Rick Laubach there in the 14. Tarbell in the 007. They're still out in front trying to do this on fuel mileage. Johnson is 3rd. Getting set for a restart at the New York State Fairgrounds. There'll be 35 miles to go to settle things in the ITT Industries Gould's Pumps salute to the troops 150 now. Laubach in the 14, Tarbell in the 007. Can they get all the way home here?
It's going to be close. They've got a tough competitor behind them in Danny Johnson.
Danny Johnson in that 27J has been on the move. Right behind him, Chad Brackman may have the most impressive drive of the day going.
All the gloves are off. This is the time to show your hand and go. And both Danny Johnson and Chad Brackman have made the top side work. Can they use it again to get by the 2 cars in front of them?
Down into turn number 1. Top 2 drivers really rolling the dice on fuel and tires here. Danny Johnson, Brackman, drivers who are just trying to go 100 miles, which is very doable in these cars.
Will Cinderella be wearing a slipper? Laubach pitted very early. Tarbell started 34th in the field and currently holds on to 2nd.
He's played his cards nicely to get to this point of the race. The question is, can he close the deal now? Pat Ward in the 42P. He started on the pole and he's raced his way back into the chase. Down into turn number 1. Ward in that Gypsum Express entry. Sitting in 10th position now. Danny Johnson rides 3rd in front of Brackman. Mark Kenyon, what about Danny Johnson's chances here?
Danny say anything on the radio?
Nah, we're just a little underpowered. Car feels great. Gonna wait around for probably 20 to go and see what we can do.
Tires or fuel?
Yeah, we're good on fuel.
They're going.
They are going. Here's Danny Johnson out of the inside of Tarbell.
On your bumper, look at the inside. Yes, sir. And you're clear. Got 4 off on the 3. Keep reeling in, buddy. The best lap of the race.
Danny Johnson, Chad Brackman just getting Tarbell moved out of the way, and they go to 2nd and 3rd chasing Laubach.
And you can see how much quicker they are over the Tarbell 007 as they pull right away from them. It's Danny Johnson and Chad Brackman trying to run down Rick Laubach's 14.
Now, as many times as Danny Johnson's run here, I'm sure he must know that Laubach is not likely to be able to get to the checkered flag.
And Danny's setting himself up in prime position. Now the Doctor has to be careful. One little mistake and Chad Brackman's going to get by him.
Brackman is plenty fast back there, 3rd in that white 3 car with the blue trim. Danny Johnson in the 27J on the move.
Got to be thinking Chad Brockman's looking to push Danny Johnson just a little bit, use up a little bit more gasoline or burn off some of that right rear tire.
Right rear tires could well be key on the hard clay surface of the Moody Mile as the laps wind down. The Saturday Small Block Championship, part of Super Dirt Week, 150 miles around. What about Andy Bicchetti? We talked to him before the start, thought he'd have a great shot in that 4-car. Doesn't look like it'll be his day here.
Well, Bicchetti was mired in the pit area a couple of times, and that's what slowed his charge down. But how about the guy behind him, Willie Decker, out of Vernon, New York? Rookie of this race right now, running up in the top 10.
Very impressive debut for Willie Decker, who tucks in behind Bicchetti. Turn number 4.
What's the old saying, Rick? Sometimes you have to lose a few before you can win one, and that's been the case with Andy Bicchetti here at Syracuse.
Well, it depends on what you do, I think, with those losing experiences. I mean, if you go to school, if you learn your way around, oh, trouble. Looks like Bicknell in the 42 may have a right front tire down. He's wrestling that thing to get it onto pit road. Leaders are in turn 3.
Rick Laubach has driven a strategic race here today, but does he have enough to go the distance? Sunoco race fuel-wise, we know Danny Johnson and Chad Brockman have set themselves up to go all the way.
Well, it could turn on the number of caution laps. I don't think we've had enough. What about Bicknell? What's he doing? Bicknell right back on the track. He never stopped. Big pack of cars bearing down on him in 1.
Matt Shepard in the 44 has to go to the top side. Pat Ward, Wayne Jelly, Tim Fuller, all right there trying to get around the 42 of Bicknell.
Now, why would Bicknell have done that? The only thing I can think of was his crew not ready for him.
That could be. He can play